What's up, people? Thursday, throwback Thursday. Need to end the week next to Friday. What's everybody doing? We getting not March, April like temperatures out here. People acting crazy running around here, thinking they can just do what the hell they want to do. Um, it's crazy. I don't know. Um, with all the stuff that's been going on today, this week, still in the waiting mode of who's going to be president, and it still looks like we're going to be switching administration. Hope the hell so, because we need a change definitely. But we got to recognize something too, and I've been saying this. We got to understand. I always talked about how we've had our educational system heist, but in truth, we've had our whole souls heist. Yes, our souls. If you think about, with all that's been going on, and especially this year, and how in the world can this race be that close? And the only thing I can come to a conclusion is that there's some of us who have sold our souls to this regime, to this demon, to whatever, to a lot of things, not just now, well, especially now, but just in the last few years for the things that have been happening to us, um, that are happening. We have gotten rid of a lot of different things. We have voted. We have gone against our own economic interests. There's nothing wrong with that, but when somebody said, and I agree to this to a point, um, we live in a time period. Sometimes I think some of us don't want to recognize what kind of time period we live in. We live in a time period of we're out of the industrial age, people. Okay, we live in an age of instant communication. We've been living in a time period of instant gratification. We live in a time of instant food, drink, whatever they call instant instant gratification at all levels. But it seems to me when it comes to getting common sense information, we lack with all the instant things that are with us. What is the problem with understanding where we're at now with all the other stuff that's instant? We don't want to recognize the fact that that has to be understood also, or we're not going to make it. Maybe it's because some of us don't want to have us make it. Okay? I have to look at it from that standpoint. Just a lot of us they don't want us to make it. Wow. Their car record. They don't want us to make it. They want a status quo. Okay. That's by design. All of it's by design. And we got to recognize that is by design. Our educational system has been high since the early part of the early part of the 20th century, the early 1900s. That's by design also. And then in the last probably 50 years more, or maybe even less, we've had our souls have been heist. Okay, this what I come to conclusion why this has been happening. The powers that be recognize the demographics of our country and the shade of our country is changing. They recognize that they are going to be the minority. When you understand that you have a chance of losing power, just like now with the presidency, he knows he's losing, so he's calling, he's acting out on all different things. When we elected the first African American president, I didn't jump up and down. A lot of y'all jumped up and down because y'all didn't think it was going to be something that was going to happen in your lifetime. That's fine. But you failed to realize what you were dealing with. See, biggest problem with people in this country is that because they don't see the prejudice, the the um, misogynist, all those kind of things, they base it off of wherever they may have gone, the countries they gone to, because they see it right out in front of them. They think, well, we don't have that because that's not happening here. That's bullshit. It's happening here, but it's just cloaked. Okay, there's an art called misdirection. This is one of the biggest things this regime, this president, has been good at. Most people don't understand that because they don't read into that stuff. Those are military tactics, thousands of years old. If you read Sun Tzu, Art of War, or Miyamoto Musashi's Book of Five Rings, these are all things that have been done over and over. And people don't recognize them because Americans don't recognize them because I think one of the things is America's a young country. Okay. Everybody else is either hundreds of thousands of years old civilization. We are only 240 something, 250 years old. Okay. We're young. We're like an infant in the market. We've given privileges, but we have misused them because we sold our soul to a lot of bullshit because we get this arrogant attitude that we only want certain people privilege to have certain things. Okay. And that's why we're in the situation we are in today. We're soul to soul. And yes, the U.S. everybody's looking at the U.S. for the things that are happening. And the problem I always find out with people in the home-based business network marketing thing, they take that for granted also. Too many of y'all out here on the spot always got this attitude that it was this advantage that we have to do home-based business, use the internet to do all these type of things that have always been here. Okay, even before the internet, we are being faced with a threat for that thing to be taken away. You guys don't understand that. At least you seem not to understand that. There's a chance that we could lose those privileges, and maybe it's because and I'm gonna say this, most of the time I see it comes from white folks because you've always had the privilege of stuff, and you don't recognize when shit is a threat to you. It is. This is the pain. And another thing I hear a lot of y'all say is that, and I've only heard this from white folks, I'm just saying, the American experiment. Well, you know what? The American experiment to brown and black folks has been a diabolical plan, a diabolical destructive plan. It ain't just been an experiment, not for us, not for where we come from. For you guys, it may be an experiment. For a lot of us, it was a diabolical plan and heist to do some harm. This is where the difference where y'all don't want to recognize. A lot of y'all don't want to recognize it. You won't talk about it because you worry about your livelihoods. Okay, I understand that. But when is it going to come a time when it's got to threaten your livelihood? Well, at the end of the day, it is threatening your livelihood. For the simple fact, if you're not in the game or in the 1% or 0.0% club, it's threatening your livelihood, whether you want to see it or not. This ain't got nothing to do with being white, black, blue, or whatever, green. Okay, they just use black and brown people as a scapegoat sometimes to do their dirty work and some of the shit that they don't want to do. But at the end of the day, economics around here in this country, around the world, is solely about caste system and all that kind of shit, with misogyny and racial prejudice mixed in. That's what we got to recognize. And this country has basically really sold its soul, and we let this fool dictate, especially you guys that were in the Republican Party. Y'all really let him do that. You know, you guys always talk about how another thing you guys always talk about, especially you guys in the network marketing home base. You're talking about it don't matter who's in the White House. And I'm gonna say this, and I put this on a post. Why the fuck do you always seem to always voting Republican if it don't mean shit? Don't mean who's in the White House, as long as a Republican. See, the Republican base always talks about small government, free enterprise, but they seem to only talk about that for a privileged few. And I don't ever talk about that for everybody. And I'm sorry to say that's just the way it is. Problem with the Democrats, you always talking about um, getting people jobs. There's a distinction there. Republicans, free enterprise, Democrats, jobs. Okay? And both seem to want to keep us, certain people, down. Because in today's market, the job market is an outdated thing. But then on the Republican side, you guys don't seem to care if only it's just your cohorts take advantage of it. And Democrats do not seem to want to teach anything about entrepreneurship, even though there's a lot of y'all that do that. You don't stress entrepreneurship because maybe you don't want the competition either. We live in a digital age where there's high competition probability because of the internet and social media. And that's one reason why they're trying to take it away. Okay? People don't want the competition. People hate the competition. Contrary to what they want to say to you, that's what it's about. And we need to be recognizing this. See, we've been heist on our educational system by the Rockefeller Foundation and the General Board. Okay? That's what this has all been about for over 100 years. And we don't recognize it because we don't teach this shit. Our political system has been heist because we allow an electoral college that was built on slavery to still dictate who we put in office. We don't have the voice in office. We have our voices go to the electors. What kind of bullshit is that? Who the fuck is this? Okay. Those are the kind of problems we still fail to recognize. The Democrats fail to recognize it. Our media fails to recognize it because they want to keep their jobs and they want to keep their little paychecks. Okay? We say shit, but then we trip over our own schwangs talking in another term. That's what I can't deal with. Okay? And this is one of the things I say our soul, or I can name this our souls, have been heist because we talk around a lot of shit because we want to be comfortable. It's going to have to become a time that you're either going to have to recognize your comfortability is going to be taken away because you weren't. There's not enough of us willing to stand up and call out the bullshit and quit protecting a system that ain't designed for you to succeed. Okay? And especially ain't designed for you guys that ain't born into the 1%. And it really ain't designed for the people who are black and brown or non-white. We got to recognize these kind of things. Until that happens, our souls, our educational systems, a lot of things are going to still be challenged through whatever means, like this pandemic, because we fail as a people to recognize what's truly going on, what's important, and it's been because of greed. This ain't got nothing to do with Jesus coming back and all that shit, because you need to use that damn thing against your best interest also. So I'm not even go there. Okay, we should know what's going on now. We should see what's going on now. It's been too long. We've been in the digital age for over 20 something years, and we still operate. The Americans still operate as if we're in the 1960s and 70s, and maybe that's what they want a lot of us to go back to. I'll be damned if I'm going back to that shit. I'd rather not be here. It's not worth it. But that means a lot of y'all ain't gonna be here. Because the younger ones, uh, the younger ones ain't gonna go, they're not gonna take that shit. They're not gonna take this shit. They're not going back to a society of their grandparents or their great grandparents. They're not doing it. Okay? So either we do this on a joint effort to stop all this soul snatching mess and recognize what's going on, because our sovereignty is in trouble. Even if we pull this shit out with getting rid of the regime that's in power now, there's gonna always be somebody waiting in the wings. If we do not wake the fuck up to what's going on now, it's gonna happen again, and it's gonna happen so swiftly because hey, technology is gonna advance. We don't recognize those type of things. Things are gonna be advancing so fast that it's gonna hit us from boom, and it's gonna happen before we even know it. Wake the fuck up, people. We gotta wake the fuck. This was a wake up call, right here. If we ain't woke up by now, we might as well put our head between our legs and kiss our ass but goodbye, because it ain't gonna help nothing. With that being said, I hope you got value from this Throwback Thursday. I've said this many times before. Look at my blog. My blog, if you did not on this little Throwback Thursday, I'll be releasing this on my blog with the video tomorrow, okay? With that being said, peace. Take care. I'm out. We'll talk to you later.